I haven't eaten. I'm in very much need financial help, and this is the calling for help. Please help me. Is this too small? Is this too big? I think it's perfect. But yeah, it's perfect. Let's go. Anyways, hello guys, welcome back to another video. And it's been a while, but I'm just gonna skip to the chase. Welcome to a series that I'm making called Tier List Tier List Tuesdays, where I make tier lists that matter because my opinion matters more than everybody else's opinion. This is a new series I was thinking of making for quite some time, and personally, I like making tier lists. I like being very opinionated. I like being very opinionated with stuff that I make. I just like making stuff about me and only me. I'm making this very early in the morning, as you can see. It's 10:42 because I just want to get this out the way and upload this as fast as I can. Oh my god. So for today's tier list Tuesday, I'm gonna be ranking Minecraft enchantments. This has definitely been done before, and it's gonna be done again because I think I need to go over the current enchantments in this update. And this tier list didn't have the new ones, and it looks like I forgot to add them again. Anyways, I had to add the enchantment. Okay, why does my headset have low battery at a time like this? Well, I don't look at my ass cheeks. Anyways, this tier list didn't have the current enchantments, so I had to add them, and they're kind of hard to see even for me. So for my standards, this is breach, this is density, this is breach, this is density, and this is obviously wind burst, wind charge, whatever the fuck it's called. It's the same. So I added the new enchantments here, but it has basically every enchantment that has been currently added to the game. For my standards, for my thing, if I forget when I'll add it post editing. I didn't do my research before. This is all off the dome, as you can see. I even had to pull up a freaking tab for all these enchantments, and I didn't think to skim it. I didn't think to skim it before making this video. So this is all off the dome. So let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into the freaking categories. So if you're not familiar with tier lists, uh, then I'm gonna make a quick summarization. S tier is the best tier. C tier is like middle tier. It's like and then F tier is like the worst tier. And if you weren't familiar with tier lists, now you are. And if you still aren't, then you're stupid. So let's just get right into it. First off, we have Soul Speed. I'm gonna put this. This is probably gonna be very controversial. This is going on A tier. I don't know anybody who doesn't like this for my standards, but I personally like Soul Speed. It's definitely useful for traveling another, and I would put it S tier, but it's the fact that when I use Soul Speed is that my boot durability goes down hella quick when I use Soul Speed. Personally, it's very good for traveling when you're in the waste biomes, when you're trying to get, I don't know, bones, when you're just transversing, trying to kill the ghasts and all the skeletons and all that. But it's just the only reason why it's not really S tier, though it's pretty decent. It's a pretty like standard enchantment, you know. I think it's just, to me personally, from my experience using Soul Speed, that it drains it really quickly. So Soul Speed is a pretty good enchantment. It's gonna stay on A. I think that's just my, obviously I just think it has to go on A. It's the kid's king. Okay. Quick charge. This is one that I actually don't use.
So we're gonna have to go through here and see what quick charge does. Decreases crossbow charging time.
This is gonna definitely be a B, maybe even a C. This is like interchangeable, I'd say. Well, though it does increase. I don't think personally using the crossbow doesn't change. It doesn't like change the speed as quick, in my opinion. I don't use crossbows like that, so I wouldn't really know. Maybe I should start using crossbows. They're pretty good in accuracy and all that, but I just don't think quick charge really. I mean, it does definitely increase the speed a little bit more, but it's just a decent enchantment. It doesn't do much. It just increases reload time, and I think it's a pretty decent enchantment. It shouldn't go any higher.
This is post editing Allen, and this is me trying out the crossbow enchantment real quick. Okay, so I may have been wrong about this enchantment.
Piercing is pretty self-explanatory. This pierces through enemies, so you can able to hit multiple enemies at once. This is also going to be, I think, this is going to definitely be a B. Definitely going to be a B unless you have multi-shot. Now, if you don't know what multi-shot does for a crossbow, multi-shot basically shoots multiple arrows at once. I think piercing by itself with just one arrow is better than, I think it's better than when you have multi-shot, if that makes sense.
Or maybe I'm just really stupid today this morning, holy shit.
Let me scratch that opinion and let me re-opinionate my opinion. Piercing is good whether you have multi-shot or by itself, but I think it's more accurate when you just have it without multi-shot. But nonetheless, piercing is a pretty good enchantment. I just don't think even with or without multi-shot, it doesn't go up the tier list. So, and I'm not gonna, and it shouldn't really go up just because it works better with another enchantment. You feel me? So I'm gonna keep it at B tier. I think it's a decent enchantment. I think it's good. The loyalty will go in S tier. Loyalty, what loyalty does, it brings the trident back to you. and that's it. I don't know why I was I don't know why I was spacing out thinking it was gonna do more. Loyalty does, it's able to bring the trident back to you. If you don't have loyalty on your trident, then it's not gonna bring the trident back to you, so you're gonna have to go manually pick it up, and that's very too much work, you know. And Minecrafters like doing things easy peasy, and hence why we have enchantments in this game. So loyalty is a pretty good enchantment. I think it'll go in S tier. Now it's not game changing per se, but I think it is game changing per se. I mean, you don't have to go pick up the trident every single time. It's just comes straight. It's a straightforward enchantment. You throw it, it comes back. You're just Aquaman. Let's get into the next one. Channeling. I think channeling. I could be. Wait, what's channeling again?
Right, it's the Thunderbolt one.
It's a straight channeling. I think personally, it's gonna go into. It's gonna go. It's between C or D. I think I'm gonna make it a C tier. Channeling, I think personally, and on paper, it's a pretty good enchantment. It shoots thunderbolts, and it's pretty easy for you to get mob heads if you're grinding for mob heads, or if you're just trying to do something else, get charged creepers. Who knows? I don't know what you're trying to do with channeling. And personally, it sounds good on paper because you summon thunderbolts, but the only downside is that you can only summon thunderbolts during a thunderstorm, and that's the only trade-off to this enchantment. And I'm pretty sure with channeling, you can't enchant it with another enchantment, or I'm possibly confusing it. But it does a trade-off to the enchantment. There's two trade-offs, I think. The two trade-offs. Holy shit. So personally, on paper, it's a really good enchantment. It sounds good on paper, but I just think channeling should be an oh my gosh, a C tier because it's only the enchantment really only works in thunderstorms, and you get a thunderstorm every blue moon. So I'm gonna keep it in C tier. Let's move on. I already talked about multi-shot. Multi-shot itself, I think it's another one of those that sounds good on paper type splish, you know. But I think personally, it's gonna also go in C. Multi-shot has its advantages. If you're dealing with mob hordes, then I think it'll definitely do well in those situations. In those situations, it's literally the only situation it'll work for is in mob hordes. If you go over multiplayer, I'm not gonna really include the aspect of you won't be winning players. I'm just talking about really Minecraft. I think I should have made that clear from the beginning, but it's whatever. But multi-shot, regardless, is only really good for mob control, and so I'm just gonna include it. And C tier, I think it's perfect. It's like I said, I'm not gonna up it just because it's good with other enchantments. Like I said, like it was good with piercing. I'm just gonna keep it as it is because it's the enchantment itself. It's the enchantment itself. And by itself, it's decent.
Post editing Alan here again. I wanted to correct myself. I think this Alan is completely wrong. I think I'd probably put it into an A tier. I had to literally see videos about multi-shot. This just goes to show, don't go off the dome with Minecraft launch if you don't use certain items.
Now the next enchantment is Look of Sea, and I remember what this one does. Please bear with me.
Legacy. Right, legacy increases the rate of fishing rare loot.
I personally don't go fishing as much on Minecraft, so this enchantment is not really known to me. But from my standards on here on the Minecraft page, it says that it doesn't say anything helpful. So hold up a sec. Here's all the statistics you know about. Look, see if we're gonna go with statistics. It fishes you fish more better, and fishes you who knows what else way better, and that's about it if you want to go statistically wise. Personally, like I said, I don't go fishing a lot, so legacy to me is like just an enchantment that is my least favorite child. It's my least favorite child. I don't use fishing. I don't go fishing like that. So, but I don't legacy is probably gonna go in a. I think it's gonna go D tier. If I'm going to if D tier, if um I'm studying a lot. This is just shows my Minecraft knowledge. I'm very knowledgeable. This is a very accurate tier list. Look, see, you should definitely go on D. Now, I think it's a very good enchantment, personally. It ups your chances with junk and other rare finds, but I just personally, not considering it, I'll move it up to C, because if you have rain, when it rains, it'll increase your chances, because when you fish in rain, it increases your chances of getting loot by a few, and I am pretty sure it increases with its stacks with Legacy. So, I'll keep it at C. But it's with consideration of rain, by the way. If it doesn't rain, then I think it'd go down in D. But with rain, it stays on C. And it doesn't rain. It rains actually no, rain definitely rains a lot in Minecraft. So it's gonna stay in. I should probably scrap this out and just have post editing Alan talk about this because this is insane. Not lore. I don't know what lore does anyway. I'm just kidding. It decreases the wait time for bite. This is gonna go in a. This is gonna go in. I think in B tier, and I would put it in A, etc. But let's be honest, who really goes out fishing a lot, and who's really gonna be waiting? Everybody is impatient as fuck. I am also impatient as fuck, and I'm not gonna wait. And though it decreases the wait time, I still think that it doesn't decreases the wait time. I just realized we have two Fs. So, anyways, Frostwalker, I think it's gonna go. It's gonna go on E. It's just gonna go on E. It's a situational enchantment. You're not gonna use a Frostwalker a lot unless you're like traveling on water, which in that case just use a boat at that point, or just use nether just another port to like your chords. I just think it's a situational enchantment. You're not gonna use Frostwalker a lot, and if you're the standard player, if you're the standard Minecraft player, you're definitely not gonna use this unless scenario calls for that you're fighting someone or you're wanting to travel the ocean with just Frostwalker. Mending self-explanatory, S tier, and I'm gonna put it over loyalty. Curse of Binding. Curse of Binding is like a hee hee ha ha enchantment. If I'm correct, Curse of Binding is basically just where the fuck is Curse? Oh, yeah, it cannot be removed from armor slots unless it's broken or you die. If you're on hardcore and you get this shit, you're cooked because you're never gonna take this off. Unless it breaks, unless it's bunking your GG's is cooked. You're cooked. Better than that, I think Curse of Binding is a hee hee ha enchantment. You're never gonna use this in any like in a regular Minecraft survival aspect. I think it's just a hee hee ha ha thing enchantment. So this is just gonna go now. Curse of Vanishing is also another hee hee ha ha, and it's more of a dickhead enchantment if I'm being honest. Curse of Vanishing, what it does is when you die, you lose your items. Let me check real quick, and I'm correct. Or yeah, the item gets destroyed upon your death. This is another hee hee ha ha enchantment, but also this is a dickhead enchantment. If your friends enchant a sword with this, or I don't know, they like do something with your sword, and then you just don't notice the enchantments, which you probably notice the enchantments in red text, but the worst case scenario, you don't notice this and you die. Well, it's goodbye to that netherite sword that you've been grinding the entire time. So I think it's another Hikon enchantment. It's definitely gonna go in F. I think these two definitely go in F for being just dickheads. You know what? I changed my mind about going in F. Like I said, they're Hikon enchantments, but they don't work. In a regular survival setting, they don't work. They just don't work to really help you. And I think it's also like a situational enchantment with Frostwalker, but unlike Frostwalker has actual helpful value to an extent. Impaling is a trident enchantment, and Impaling, what it does, it increases the damage you deal to ocean mobs. And this itself was gonna go on A tier. A tier, it's pretty helpful. Now it's not gonna go on S, because there's really rarely situations you're gonna be fighting on the water. Let's be honest. So it's another situational enchantment. You're gonna be mostly fighting up in the overworld or in Nether or in the, not really in the end, but you're gonna be fighting. You're really gonna be fighting mostly on the surface rather than in the water level water biomes. You're not gonna be fighting guardians all the time, and you're not gonna be fighting drowns all the time. You're not gonna be fighting elder guardians all the time unless you're like resculpting an ocean monument. Honestly, it shouldn't even be on A, but the fact that you get additional water damage for any mobs,
What for? Is it specifically ocean mobs?
yeah, just specifically ocean mobs. Now that I double checked, it's specifically for ocean mobs. Honestly, this is gonna go back. This is gonna go to B. I changed my mind. It's a B. I think it's just nice. If you have a trident, it's nice to have extra damage. But let's be honest, at that point you're gonna have your sword does more damage than that. Oh my gosh, I'm actually about to reevaluate this enchantment. Don't look. Riptide. Riptide is another situational enchantment, and I think it gets the same. Basically, it gets the same treatment as channeling does. Channeling, it only works in thunderstorms. Riptide only works in rain. Honestly, no, I'm putting this in B because I feel like you get rain more than thunderstorms. Thunderstorms, you get that every blue moon. Rain, you get that every freaking Friday on Minecraft. So I'm gonna honestly put Riptide above channeling and impaling because I think these are more of a impaling and channeling are more of very high situational. While Riptide is like you get a rain every. What the hell? I just realized my monitor is cracking. Like I was saying, channeling and impaling are very highly situational enchantments, while Riptide is just like you get rain like every other 2 Minecraft days if we're being honest. Protection 4, that's going on S. I'm pretty sure if I can speak on all Minecraft players, which I shouldn't really be doing that, but I'm just gonna do it. We're all gonna be using Protection 4. I don't know anybody in my family bloodline that be using fire protection or blast protection. Now, both of them on paper, those two enchantments sound good on paper, but let's be honest, nobody's going to be using that. Protection 4, you're going to get more protectional value than you are between fire protection and blast protection. Now, obviously, those go towards specific elements. Like fire protection, you get more protection from fire, and blast protection, you get more protection from blast attacks. But protection, I feel it's an overall protection. It's an overall enchantment for all your armor. So there's really no need for those two enchantments unless you're trying to do stuff with that involves fire and you're trying to do stuff that involves explosives. Then that's a different thing. Oh my gosh, bro. Fire protection, like I said, it's an enchantment that sounds really good on paper, and unless you're doing a specific like fire related thing, then it's not really good. But just so I think it's another high key situational enchantment if we're being honest. But I feel like some Minecraft veterans are gonna get on my ass for this, so I'm honestly gonna put it on B. So Bane of Arthropods is another. It's if let's no one's you're not gonna be fighting spiders 100% of the time. The only spiders in the game you're gonna be fighting is spiders and spiders. Unless you're fighting Spider-Man, this is an S tier enchantment. But Bane of Arthropods is not gonna be really helpful for everything. And if the moment you have Sharp 5, it's GG's for the spiders regardless. You can easily one-tap them. Bane of Arthropods, unless you're doing something specific with spiders, like if you're working on a spider farm or you're doing something with spiders, or you're just in a mineshaft, this enchantment is just other booty cheeks. But the fact that it has the spider work, I'm just gonna this is between these two. I'm just gonna put it on C, honestly. Knockback 2, I personally don't like knockback on my swords. Now, like I said, I wasn't going to include PvP aspects into this, but this sword would be really helpful for combat situations. 50% of the time, if you need to get out of a fight, that's why people usually in PvP have like two separate swords, one for knockback and another one for combat. But I'm not very knowledgeable in that area. But I personally, on survival aspect, I don't like knockback on my swords, so I try not to have a sword with knockback. But I know some people do like having knockback because it's good to get mobs away from you. So honestly, I'm just gonna put this on B. For me personally, I don't like it, but it's a good enchantment for you to get mobs out of your way.
I think it deserves its respects in over here in B tier.
Fire aspect too. I love fire aspect. Fire aspect, it'll cook you food from the get-go. If you're traveling around the world and you need desperate need of food, well there you go. You have cooked food. You just have to kill them all, and there you go. You have cooked food. Deals fire damage to enemies and deals fire damage to any person who's trying to fuck with you. So fire aspect 2, I think overall it's an A tier enchantment. It doesn't go on S tier. It's not game changing. I mean, I personally consider it game changing. The fact that I get automatically cooked food from killing mobs, but looting 3 does up your chances of like how much loot you earn.
It's gonna tell us more specifically on what it does, but I'm not really getting into this. But just know that it increases like your drops by like 1.
Anyways, Unbreaking 3. I think Unbreaking 3 is gonna go into S tier. Do I need to really explain why it goes on S tier? Unbreaking literally keeps all your weapons and tools from breaking, including armor, and it's an overall enchantment that works with everything. Fortune 3, I'm gonna be very conflicted on putting on S or A, and it should honestly go on S, but since it's only a pickaxe exclusive, or no, it goes on pickaxe. It goes on every other tool other than your sword, because I mean that's why you have looting for. It's just gonna go on A tier.
It helps you get more diamonds, and if you have it on your axe, it gets you sticks and apples. And if you have it in your shovel, it just gets you gravel. So it's just going on A. But it's an overall good enchantment to get more.
Power 5 is a exclusive enchantment only to the bow. And personally, I don't use bows either.
Oh my god.
I think Power 5, personally, it's I use bows more than crossbows, but I really don't use anything range like. If I don't play the game, I don't really only use bows for when I'm fighting the dragon or doing something else. But most of the time I'm building. And I think this enchantment itself for bow, since bow is exclusive, I'll put it on A. Punch is basically the knockback for bows. Honestly, I don't really notice a difference with this when I have punch, and I rarely also have punch on bows because I don't really like having punch. I don't like having knockback on anything. And actually, no, I just rethought everything, and sudden all the clips with bows with punch 2 have came into my head. This is going to be tier. Flame is basically the fire aspect, but for bows, and this itself is gonna go on B. Feather Falling 4 is a boot only enchantment. It only goes on your boots, and it keeps you from dealing hella amounts of fall damage. Holy shit, my wrist is hurting from the amount of pressing I was doing against the desk. But Feather Falling 4 is an enchantment that keeps you from dealing hella amounts of fall damage. This itself is very useful, so I think where the fuck did it go? This itself goes into A tier as well. Like I said, like I already stated my opinions before with blast protection, it's like a situational enchantment. Unless you're working with explosives, it's gonna go on B. I forgot about projectile projection. That's how irrelevant these enchantments are. It's going on B. Same thing with the other two enchantments with fire protection and blast protection. It just deserves to spawn in B. Doesn't need to go any higher, doesn't need to go any lesser. They're still very useful, but it's situational enchantments that really only work when you're working with those specific stuff. Thorns. I don't like having thorns on armor. I think doesn't suck. It doesn't suck. It's good. It does the extra damage for when people, like, let's say hordes of mobs are gangbanging you. It's a nice enchantment to have so they can get off your dick. I personally don't like having thorns because if I'm trying to do like a farm, like let's say an enderman farm or some other type of farm, and I have to involve a mob to work with a mob or something, and it's just kind of bad to have thorns because then that mob's gonna obviously hit you a ton and then they're gonna die from the thorns. But that's just me personally. But overall, it's a good enchantment. I think it just deserves a V spot though. I think it's V spot. It's a good enchantment, good for mob control and stuff. But I think it just needs its place on B. Respiration. Respiration is a helmet enchantment and it keeps you from drowning. It's gonna go on C. Death Strider 2, but instead of drowning, keeping you from drowning is from letting you move faster so you can swim faster and move faster underwater. It's another enchantment that's very highly situational. There's rarely going to be times you're going to be working underwater, doing stuff underwater, but it's really good to transverse when you're transversing over rivers. So I'll give it the edge because if you're transversing and you're traveling, it can be very helpful. So I'll give it the edge just because of that. Because you're definitely gonna, if you're trying to like just go to like certain biomes and you're traveling, you're just trying to get there quick. Death Strider helps that a lot, so you don't like do this movement where you're just going slowly and you just can go through the water and river swiftly. So Death Strider gets the edge just because of that. Aqua Infinity is another water situational enchantment. And if I'm correct, Aqua Infinity, what it does, it
Basically increases the rate of your mining speed underwater, and I was correct.
you're rarely going to be doing stuff underwater, and now it can come in clutch when you're like maybe you're suffocating underwater, or you need to get out of like the water area, like underwater cave, because you've been I don't know underwater mining or doing something in the water, or if you're like in the Ocean Monument and the Elder Guardian give you mining fatigue, then it definitely helps out trying to break out quicker. So now we're getting to Sharpness 5. Sharpness 5 is not going to go on S tier as much as I would love to, but looking at the other stuff, I think I may need to. So Smite 5 will get an A tier. And like I said, it's not highly situational where you're going to be dealing with undead mobs. The only reason you're going to be using Smite 5 is because you're fighting the Wither to get that extra damage off to fight them and deal with them quickly. But other than that, you're not going to really be using Smite 5 for everything. It's mostly really for maybe that sole purpose or for other purposes. Infinity is controversial for the fact that you're able to shoot infinity arrows, but I personally will it's gonna go on to a like every tier list. It's gonna go on D, so I can fill up the tier list. No, I'm just kidding. It's between C or D. I think personally it's gonna go on C. It's not shit, and it's not good. The only trade-off is that Infinity can't go with Mending, and that's very good game development for the fact that if these two were together, you would be honestly cooked. Because then the bow would never break and you would be cooked. So that's the only trade-off for Infinity is that you can't enchant these two together. You can only have one of each. Either have a Mending bow or have an Infinity bow with and you're able to shoot infinite amount of arrows. And I personally don't like having infinity on my bow because I get triggered when I see just one arrow in my inventory. So I like having mending, and it's very nice. So I can just repair my bow rather than having to use materials to repair an infinity bow. So I personally I'm gonna put it on C. Now Breach basically is the new enchantments that were added with the addition of the mace. I would definitely put it in B most likely. But the fact that it's able to do about, I think, from what I've read, 15% more armor damage to enemies that have armor. And let's be honest, once you get more ahead into Minecraft, mostly every regular mob is just gonna have armor at that point. So every like mob, like a zombie, a skeleton, are gonna have armor by then percentage to be able to deal more damage to armored mobs, so I'll give it the edge over that. And like I said, it's only mace exclusive, so there's a chance you're not really gonna get to the mace till like maybe in game unless you're really dedicated and you get the mace early on. Then from the trials, then good for you. Now we have density. Density, no one's gonna be making Eiffel Towers to jump off and kill a warden in one shot. Nobody's gonna be doing that. I think this is gonna definitely be. It's another Hikaha enchantment, and just so the list is complete, so it doesn't trigger anybody, this is going on D. This is a good enchantment, I think personally, but it's more of a highly situational that you're gonna need to be millions of stories tall to be able to kill a mob instantaneously, at least higher. So density is just gonna go on D. And Whisper's Charge itself, solely by itself, it's a Hikiha enchantment, but the fact that it works so well, despite it being a Hikiha enchantment, it's just gonna go on A. And I wasn't gonna up it, and like I said, I'm not upping it solely based on how it works well with this one or with density, but the fact that it just ironically works so well by itself because you're able to just keep pouncing and pouncing on mobs, and it works well for mob control. So Wind Shark just deserves its praise for A. It's not game changing, it's not revolutionary, it's not an all rounder. Now pretend the Warden is the Swift Sneak. I forgot about the Swift Sneak. Personally, Swift Sneak is gonna go on a B tier. I think for me, who likes building much more than fighting or anything, Swift Sneak is definitely a good enchantment for just trying to build and get around corners, or just trying to build without falling, and you're able to do that much more quickly. Now, if you're sneaking around certain places, then it's also pretty good because you're able to transfer much more quicker on crouch. So it's better than you just being a slow little slug. You're a faster little slower. You're a faster, slower slug. So it gets on B. It's not really like game changing. Now, some people could say it is, but I just think Swift Sneak deserves its spot on B tier. It's a good enchantment. Now, pretend this pickaxe is Silk Touch. I just realized this list also didn't have Silk Touch. I'm gonna put this Silk Touch on. I'm just gonna go. No, I'm going on A. Silk Touch is very easy to get. It's an easy enchantment. You're always gonna get Silk Touch. I think even on training villagers, they should. When you're training with villagers, they trade this shit for cheap. So I think it being an A is pretty good. It's not revolutionary, but it's really nice to have a Silk Touch pick when you're trying to just get stone easily without having to smell stuff, like smell cobblestone every like 24/7, or if you're just trying to get like exclusive blocks without having to cheese your way around them. Silk Touch is just an easy way to get certain materials without having to do extra work. Now pretend this enchanted wooden pickaxe is efficiency, and efficiency is going S tier. I don't really need to say much for efficiency. Efficiency increases the speed on your tools, and this is very helpful for when you're trying to mine. Let's be honest, it's miserable mining without efficiency, and if you say otherwise, that just efficiency belongs anywhere else below, I could probably agree with A tier, but it's just you're always gonna have efficiency. I don't know anybody who wouldn't have efficiency on their pick. It just deserves to be on this. It just absolutely deserves to. And Diamond Sword, pretend Diamond Sword is Sweeping Edge for all the Java people.
Sweeping Edge, what it does, it basically just says here increases the sweeping attack.
Basically, like the little sweep thing when you're trying to attack. Best explanation I can do. I think it just belongs on C tier. I heard, from what I've heard with my little ears, this is controversial because some people don't like Sweeping Edge. I personally don't really mind it, so Sweeping Edge is gonna just stay on C tier. It's good enchantment, but it's not also bad. It could also be interchangeable with B, and yeah, that's it. If you like this, then I'll see you next Tuesday, and if you don't like it, then don't see me next Tuesday. Remember to flick your willy and beat your.